To our viewers, you're in the Situation Room, where new pictures and information are arriving all the time. Standing by, CNN reporters across the United States and around the world to bring you today's top stories happening now. Will President Bush decide to send more troops to Iraq? He's said to be very close to a fresh war strategy, with sources saying a short-term surge in troop strength being an active subject of discussion right now. Also, a man on guard at Saddam Hussein's execution is now under guard himself, detained and questioned over whether or not he leaked the cell phone video of Saddam Hussein's being taunted just minutes before his hanging. And a Christian TV evangelist has a dramatic prediction for 2007. He forecasts a mass killing, perhaps, of millions of people. And who does Pat Robertson say told him this? I'm Wolf Blitzer. You're in the Situation Room. It's the execution of the investigation into what happened at Saddam Hussein's execution in Iraq. One man is being held, his motives being questioned. He's a security guard who was at Saddam Hussein's hanging. An advisor to the Iraqi prime minister says the guard leaked the now infamous cell phone video to internet sites and TV stations. Iraq's national security advisor says 2 more people could soon be detained, and 2 other men convicted with Saddam Hussein could soon be put to death as well. How might things have been handled had the United States been in charge of Hussein's hanging? Today, the spokesman for the U.S. military in Iraq, Major General Bill Caldwell, answered that question. Meanwhile, there are updates on Iraq's kidnappings and killings. 5 contractors kidnapped in November appear in a videotape released today. The 4 Americans and 1 Austrian urged the U.S. to withdraw from Iraq. Meanwhile, the number of U.S. troops in Iraq is among the items under consideration as President Bush considers options for Iraq. Joining us now with more on this part of the story, our White House correspondent, Suzanne Malveaux. Suzanne?
Well, Wolf, President Bush says that his announcement will come in the days ahead on his Iraq plan. This is a plan that the president, Wolf, is calling a new strategy.
Emerging from his first cabinet meeting of the year, President Bush didn't even mention Iraq, but once again framing it as part of the war on terror.
The need to protect ourselves from radicals and terrorists. The needs to win the war on terror.
Instead, he tried to sell his domestic agenda to the incoming Democratic-controlled Congress.
And together we have important things to do.
The president's Rose Guard message and rare op-ed in Wednesday's Wall Street Journal calling for bipartisanship reflects Mr. Bush's new political reality, that he needs to change course to get things done. But even within his own party, the question remains, is he willing to change course in Iraq by possibly calling for more U.S. troops?
I think it's very clear that the administration is very open to this possibility.
The conservative policy group, the American Enterprise Institute, has been lobbying the White House to order such a surge. Insiders say the debate over the prospect has been fierce, but that the president is likely to send anywhere from 20 to 40,000 additional men and women.
I don't think this is a question simply of stubbornness and refusal to admit defeat. I think this is a question of the administration recognizing that defeat will have terrible consequences.
But some warn if the president does sign off on more troops, it could be devastating.
We already surged back in the fall, and what happened is more Americans died when we surged. The Iraqis were supposed to send 6 battalions into Baghdad along with the extra 7,000 American troops. Only 2 showed up. So when people say, well, you got to train them more, it's not a question of training, it's motivation.
But the bottom line, White House officials insist, is Mr. Bush has not signed off on anything yet.
It's not done yet. The policy is not done. He is still talking to people.
And Wolf, those who are familiar with the president's deliberations over Iraq say they expect him to wrap up those discussions, those talks on Friday. It is likely on Monday that the White House will put out courtesy calls to members of Congress to brief them on the president's final plan, and then likely Tuesday or Wednesday is when the president will basically give his plan to the American people in a national address. Wolf?
Suzanne, thanks very much. Of course, we'll have extensive coverage of this entire process. If more troops are sent to Iraq, who might actually command those troops in the days ahead? There are fresh calls for change at the top of the military Iraq War Command. Our senior Pentagon correspondent, Jamie McIntyre, has some details. Jamie?
Well, Wolf, very simply put, the question is, along with a new strategy, should U.S. troops have a new top commander?
1 year ago, in an interview with CNN, General George Casey was brimming with confidence that 2006 would be the year Iraq would turn the corner.
I think what you're going to see is a gradual diminution in the levels of violence.
But Casey was wrong. Wrong about the violence, and wrong in his expectation that as more Iraqi troops stood up, more U.S. troops could come home. Both Casey and fellow four-star General John Abizaid stubbornly insisted all last year more U.S. troops would not help. Now, with President Bush considering a surge of American troops, the question is, will he replace Casey as the chief proponent of a failed strategy? General Abizaid is retiring, but Casey, after meeting with Defense Secretary Robert Gates in Iraq, said that unlike Abizaid, he would not step aside voluntarily when his tour in Iraq ends later this year. Casey was thought to be Donald Rumsfeld's pick to be the next Army Chief of Staff. But now with Rumsfeld gone, Casey may pay a price for overseeing failure in Iraq. That, his supporters argue, would be an injustice.
They're looking for a scapegoat because basically this was the president's strategy that he embraced, which is to turn over security to the Iraqis. And since it hasn't worked as well as the president would like, he's looking for a scapegoat.
Sources say the Pentagon is considering a wider shakeup that would eliminate Casey's job once he's gone, leaving a three-star general in charge of U.S. ground forces in Iraq. Overall responsibility for the war would fall to the next U.S. Central Commander, who replaces General John Abizaid.
And Wolf, a name often mentioned for that new top commander of the Central Command is Lieutenant General David Petraeus, who has a reputation as an unconventional thinker and literally helped write the book on counterinsurgency warfare as a co-author of the Army's new doctrine. Wolf?
Sounds like he's got good credentials for that kind of a job. Jamie, thank you very much. Now that Saddam Hussein is dead, what might that mean for the future of Iraq? Joining us now to talk about that and other issues is John Burns. He's the Pulitzer Prize-winning journalist for the New York Times. He's long covered this war. He's joining us from Baghdad. John, how angry are Americans right now, civilian and military personnel in Iraq, over the way Saddam Hussein was executed?
Well, they're angry. They're angry, but more than that, I think they're disappointed. They're really seriously disappointed. That's what they tell us. They've had to sustain blow after blow after blow, especially in the last year, all hopes confounded. And they had worked very hard in the 72 hours before this ghastly event happened to try and make sure that their part in this was conducted with decorum, with dignity. They urged the Americans urged the Iraqis to follow suit. In effect, they wanted it delayed. They wanted proper legal procedures to be followed. They didn't want it on the first day of the Eid religious holiday. Maliki swept all of this aside and, in effect, rushed to the gallows. And you could see on General Caldwell's face today, the command spokesman, and in the voice of some very senior American officials here I've spoken to in the last 24 hours, a tremendous chagrin about this, and an acknowledgement, although it's not explicit. I can tell you that they understand that although people are shouting Maliki's name in Iraq and across the world, there's a good deal of opprobrium for the new government here. In the end, it's America that will be held accountable for this, fairly or not.
Why did Nouri al-Maliki, the prime minister, reject these appeals from high-ranking U.S. officials to hold off, to delay? If you're going to hang them, do it right?
Well, I'm inclined to say that from what we saw of those ghastly scenes in the execution chamber, that the desire for revenge was overwhelming and just got the better of people like Mr. Maliki, who themselves were victims. You can hardly talk to these Iraqi officials for more than a minute about this without their falling into a long and very searing narrative about the suffering that they went through, the torture, the years of miserable, impoverished exile. That was one thing. The other thing was that they had decided, for curious kind of talismanic reasons, as I was told today by one of the officials who attended the execution, that they wanted this done in the year 2006. They wanted the year 2007 to begin with the page turn. Now remember, the countdown to this execution, the turbulent argument to and fro that was going on, even as Saddam went to bed on Friday night, by the way, unaware that within a few hours he would be woken to be taken to the gallows. That argument was taking place on the night of the 29th, 30th of December. They really couldn't have done it on the morning of Sunday because the Shiite Eid festival would have begun. So they had to do it from their perspective that night. And as a result, it was done in a rush. It was poorly organized. Now, of course, there's a kind of fight back. We're hearing today they've arrested the fellow with the cell phone, so they say. And what they're doing is they're trying to, in effect, rewrite the history of what happened, because senior officials in Maliki's office have been calling journalists today to say he wasn't dignified. He was very undignified. In the last moments, you didn't see it on the TV. He was appealing and pleading for American officials, as well he might, by the way, who had left him and handed him over a few minutes before. There was a suggestion from one official that he might have been on tranquilizers. Perhaps that's true. I believe it's done in American prisons before executions. They're very, very concerned about the notion that Saddam, the mass murderer, emerges from this with a certain sort of credit for his dignity and courage, and that they, the victim community of all of this, emerge as kind of bullying thugs.
We have 10 seconds. Nouri al-Maliki says to the Wall Street Journal he hates his job, the prime minister. How much longer do you think he can survive?
Well, he may be saying that in anticipation of what he has long anticipated, that the United States will get tougher, that they will finally tire of him, and that some kind of parliamentary coup will be mounted against him. It's not impossible.
John Burns,
that could happen, and that he could be out fairly quickly.
John Burns doing some excellent reporting as usual for us. John Burns of the New York Times. Thank you very much. Be careful over there in Baghdad. Coming up, will Democrats play their ultimate trump card on the war in Iraq? We're going to have a live report from our Brian Todd. And Christian TV evangelist Pat Robertson is out with a new warning. He talks about a mass killing, possibly of millions, this new year. Just whom does Robertson say told him that? Stay with us. You're in The Situation.
Let me tell you about a very important phone call I made. When I got my Medicare card, I realized I needed an AARP Medicare supplement insurance card too.
One simple call gave me the chance to talk with a personal health insurance advisor
Who answered all my questions about Medicare supplement plans.
If you're already on or eligible for Medicare, call now to find out how an AARP Medicare supplement insurance plan, insured by United Healthcare Insurance Company, helps you pay some of the 20% of your medical expenses not covered by Medicare Part B. That can save you thousands of dollars. These are the only Medicare supplement insurance plans exclusively endorsed by AARP, a name you trust. When you call now, we'll send you this free information kit, plus this free guide to understanding Medicare.
I can keep my own doctor and choose my own hospital.
and I don't need a referral to see a specialist.
Call 1-800-673-4168 now. A personal health insurance advisor is waiting.
Fantastic. Quality.
Wow. Thanks to the latest Bose technology, it is now possible to have for the first time the same noise reduction benefits in on-ear headphones as we achieved in the award-winning Quiet Comfort 2 around-ear headphones. And now you can choose your preferred style, QC2 or the new QC3 headphones. Wear them when you fly to experience less noise at the flick of a switch. And create your own private sanctuary. Originally designed for planes, owners tell us about other uses, less distraction at work, to unwind after a hectic day, or to find your own space.
Sound quality is fantastic. Peace.
Order QC2s or the new smaller QC3 headphones. Try them risk-free for 30 days. Order by January 31st for a free MP3 player, and you can make 12 easy payments. Quiet Comfort headphones. Hear the difference Bose technology makes.
Dish Network subscribers, stand up and object. Court TV has been dropped. You've lost the only network that covers the daily live courtroom drama.
The only network
of today's biggest trials.
This is our expertise.
And the primetime destination for exciting crime and justice entertainment.
This sounds like a very personal attack.
Dish Network subscribers, don't stand for this injustice. Get Court TV by calling 1-800-710-1922.
Closed captioning provided by Activon. Applied directly where it hurts. New from the makers of Head-On, introducing Activon. Arthritis pain? Activon. Apply directly where it hurts. Activon Arthritis, in stores now.
There are growing calls among many opposed to the war in Iraq for the new Congress to cut funding for the mission. At a news conference by Democratic leaders held earlier today on Capitol Hill, Congressman Rahm Emanuel was interrupted by protesters, including the activist Cindy Sheehan, demanding that Congress obey what they say is the voters' mandate for change in the war. After attempts to quiet the crowd failed, the lawmakers abruptly ended their news conference. So will Democrats use the so-called power of the purse to enact the changes many want to see in the war? CNN's Brian Todd is joining us now with this part of the story. Brian?
Wolf, it's widely thought that control over the money is the Democrats' best leverage to bring about change in Iraq. But having that leverage and using it without political backlash will be difficult.
Just before one of the deadliest months in Iraq for U.S. troops, millions of American voters told Democratic candidates, "We're counting on you to change the course of this war." Now, as the majority in Congress, Democrats seemingly have an important piece of leverage over the president to do that. Leverage backed up by the Constitution.
The power of the purse is the Democrats' main lever here. They can't force the president to change policy. All they can do is tell him that he can't spend any money.
Then why do we hear this from top Democrats?
No one's going to cut off funding to the troops that I know of.
I see no appetite, and certainly I would not support actually restricting funds.
Comments that earn a scolding from one of the most liberal of Democrats who also ran on an anti-war platform.
We have to realize it is not credible to simultaneously say that you oppose the war in Iraq and continue to fund it.
But analysts say for Democrats, it's not that simple.
Democrats have the problem of having to balance the fact that their constituency wants the U.S. out of Iraq and as soon as possible, balance that with the fear that Democrats have not always been tough enough for some people on issues like national security.
The Democrats don't want to be painted as cutting off money for troops in harm's way, so they're going another route, pressuring the Bush administration to put all the money for the war into the regular government budget, rather than emergency bills where they've been channeling much of the funds and where there's less oversight.
This is an enormously expensive engagement. Somebody's got to keep a tab on this. Somebody's got to ask for cost justification.
Will the White House go along?
We will move toward making expenditures in Iraq and in the war on terror generally, including Afghanistan, as transparent as possible.
If the White House doesn't do that or doesn't follow other Democratic plans for changing course in Iraq, there is already talk that Democrats will use other leverage, like blocking the president's judicial nominations. When I asked incoming House Budget Chairman John Spratt if he'd go along with moves like that, he said he didn't want to respond to a hypothetical. Wolf?
Brian Todd reporting. Thank you, Brian, for that. Newly released FBI documents provide some fresh insight into the harsh interrogation tactics used against detainees at Guantanamo Bay. Among the alleged incidents, a bearded detainee whose head was wrapped in duct tape after he refused to stop reciting the Quran. The report is online, and our Jackie Schechner has some details. Jackie?
Wolf, at least 26 FBI employees report or witness harsh interrogation techniques by other government agencies or contractors while at Guantanamo Bay. One FBI employee reports that he interviewed a detainee with facial cuts and a black eye. Another one reports that he saw a Marine captain squatting over the Quran. In this report, a detainee says that he was beaten unconscious. Now, all of these documents were released as part of a Guantanamo Bay inquiry where some 500 FBI personnel who were stationed at Guantanamo Bay since September 11th were interviewed, and the FBI found out that no FBI agent participated in any controversial practices. Now, these documents were made public as part of a lawsuit by the ACLU. They say that the documents remind us that a thorough and independent investigation is long overdue. The Department of Defense says that the information contained in this report is not new, that these are things that have been thoroughly investigated, and where the allegations were substantiated, Wolf, the appropriate disciplinary action had been taken.
Jackie Schechner, thank you. Meanwhile, the stage is now set for what could be the first showdown between the Bush administration and the new Democrat-controlled Congress. The Justice Department is refusing to turn over documents on CIA detainee policies to the incoming chairman of the Judiciary Committee, Senator Patrick Leahy. He says he's disappointed and may subpoena the documents, adding that President Bush has promised to work with the new Congress, and I'm quoting now, may have been only political lip service. Up ahead, a new Congress with new leadership. Who's the man who will take the reins of power in the Senate? Our exclusive look at Senator Harry Reid when we come back. And later, how did he do it again? The evangelist Pat Robertson makes a new and dire prediction. We're going to tell you what he had to say. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Strength and fortitude.
I want healthy skin for life.
Aveeno Daily Moisturizing Lotion is proven to improve the health of your dry skin. The natural oatmeal formula locks in moisture for 24 hours for healthy, beautiful skin that lasts.
I found the moisturizer for life.
Aveeno Daily Moisturizing Lotion.
Larry King tonight, exclusive. She says she's James Brown's widow, though she got locked out of his house after he died. Plus, James Brown's children on the legend they call Dad. Larry King exclusive. Tonight, 9 Eastern, only on CNN.
Why aren't middle-class wages going up? Why does it take 2 incomes just to get by?
Lou Dobbs tonight. CNN coming up next.
It's time for...
It's time to start.
Ready, go.
See what a blue man does to a rock show. How to be a megastar tour. Blue Man Group hits the stage with their electrifying arena rock show.
Rock concert movement #1.
Comcast welcomes Blue Man Group live.
Here are your instructions.
Saturday, February 3rd, Memorial Coliseum. Tickets on sale now through ComcastTix.com. Don't miss Blue Man Group for one night only.
Cold sores are gonna clear up. Put on a happy face.
Want them gone fast? Get Herpes L. Unlike other treatments, it helps heal lips fast, soothes skin, and protects lips. Herpes L.
Just put on a happy face.
America's changing shape with Dexatrim Max 2.0. Now in 2 delicious new flavors.
Gives me and my water a boost.
Size 8, here I come. Helps curb cravings. A healthy way to max out your weight loss. Dexatrim Max 2.0. Max out your water.
One word cannot describe him. A ring cannot contain him. He is a natural-born killer, driven by a relentless rage from within. Every match, a new level of confidence and power. Every victory, one step closer to the ultimate prize. Retribution will be paid in full. Joe is going to kill you. TNA. Final Resolution. Live January 14th on In-Demand Pay-Per-View.
Cheers to good food and good friends. Cheers to
great
chef. Thank you for having
because I'm coming back tomorrow.
Reservations only.
Yeah, tomorrow's open.
I feel like a superstar tonight being at your house.
This is so spectacular. Better than any restaurant I've ever been to.
Okay, so what is your secret? I had a little help in the kitchen.
Everybody can cook with Wolfgang Puck in the kitchen.
Wolfgang Puck Cookware on HSN.
CNN Special Investigations Unit. Series premiere CNN Saturday, January 20th.
Let's check in with our friend Lou Dobbs, who's getting ready for his program that begins in a few minutes right at the top of the hour. Lou?
Well, thank you. Coming up, we'll be reporting on a graphic new illustration of the massive and widening gap between working men and women in this country and this country's corporate elites. Another top CEO has resigned with a severance package of more than $200 million. He'll just have to get by. We'll have that special report in War on the Middle Class. And the Catholic Church, again, boosting the illegal alien lobby and criticizing U.S. government efforts to enforce immigration laws and minor efforts to even secure our borders. We'll have that story. And President Bush appears determined to give illegal aliens amnesty and the right to collect U.S. Social Security. Nothing less than a huge giveaway to the illegal alien movement. And, of course, the government of Mexico will have that special report and full analysis of the 2008 political race. Yes, it's on. All of that coming up at the top of the hour. Please join us. Wolf, back to you.
Thank you, Lou. We certainly will. Democrats here in Washington outlining an ambitious agenda when they take control of the Congress tomorrow, and it will be up to one man to try to get that legislation through the U.S. Senate. That would be the incoming Majority Leader, Harry Reid, who has a sometimes volatile history with President Bush. Let's turn to our congressional correspondent, Dana Bash. She has an exclusive report. Dana?
Well, just as you said, a lot of the focus has been on the House, of course, since the election, because the first woman will become Speaker. But in order for Democrats to make their agenda law, they are going to have to rely largely on Harry Reid. He will be the next Majority Leader. He invited us to his home in Nevada, and you may be surprised about what you learn.
Searchlight, Nevada, a dried-up mining town, a relic of the Wild West. A truck stop 55 miles from Las Vegas. Most of the 800 residents live in trailers.
Welcome to Searchlight.
Thank you.
The one house belongs to new Senate Majority Leader Harry Reid, shaped and scarred in Searchlight.
I'm a pessimist about everything in life. That way I have fewer disappointments.
In the distance of this vast property, a mine where his father worked. Pinky, young Harry's nickname, would keep Dad company.
It was hard to make a living, and the man that my dad worked for a lot of times wouldn't pay him, or would give him bad checks that would bounce.
The memories can hurt.
My parents both drank a lot, and I was always so glad when they were broke, because they couldn't afford stuff then.
Then, prostitution was Searchlight's biggest industry. Reid learned to swim at one of the 13 brothels, remembers the owner giving kids $5 for Christmas.
That's what it cost for the men to go with the girls, was $5. So,
I won't ask how you used the $5.
well, I bought things out of the catalog.
School ended in 8th grade, so Reid hitchhiked 42 miles for high school. Went to college with a collection from the locals.
Even though I was raised here, my mother always was able to instill in me that I was as good as anybody else. That's part of it there, that old wood there.
Yeah. A trailer has now replaced the 4-room home with no running water where Reid and his 3 brothers grew up. To tour Searchlight is to find scars, like where his 58-year-old father shot himself to death.
This house right here, that last room is a bedroom. That's where he killed himself. Hi.
The senator from Nevada fights for Sin City but doesn't gamble or drink. A square-looking guy who listens to hip songs on his iPod.
Cowboy junkies.
You know the Cowboy Junkie?
And how does he keep up with music? Get this.
Did I read that you're a People magazine reader?
Yeah, I love People magazine.
Harry Reid sums himself up this way.
Isn't that Chris Christopherson, his song? He's a walking contradiction.
And another thing many people don't realize about Harry Reid is that he's a Mormon. He and his Jewish-born wife converted shortly after they got married. That was right out of high school. Reid says he understands that his religion is quite controversial, but he says that he hopes more people learn about that religion, about Mormonism, and, well, he actually will be the highest-ranking Mormon in U.S. political history.
I think we all learned something from that report. Dana, good work. Thank you very much for that. Up next, a dire and deadly prediction for the coming year. Evangelist Pat Robertson says the Lord told him so, but does his track record on predictions make his claims credible? We'll be right back.
What do you know about computers?
My daughter definitely knows how to use a computer better than I do half the time, and she's 3.5.
Hi, I'm John Scherer, CEO and founder of Video Professor. I've been hearing comments like that for over 18 years now. Listen to this.
I did the Excel, and it was a lot of fun. I had a real good time. I learned a lot.
The difference, just 1 hour with one of my CDs, and they're easy to use. The CD plays like a video on your computer screen. Just follow the step-by-step instructions. And if you call right now, I'll send you any lesson of your choice free. The reason I can do this is because I know that once you try my product, you'll come back to us for all your computer learning needs. If you can't learn for any reason, I'll not only refund your shipping and processing, but I'll send you $10. So learn a new skill in less than an hour. Try my product.
I think that's the most fun I've had learning something about the computer.
To get your free computer learning CD, you must call now. Call 1-800-701-3063.
Worried about rising monthly payments in your adjustable mortgage? What if you had a mortgage with the option of a low monthly payment and a fixed rate for the life of your loan? Call 1-800-71-FIXED or log on to ditech.com, a GMAC company.
Oh, man.
Are you sure?
Would you like to be a Publishers Clearinghouse winner tomorrow? You can if you go to PCH.com right now.
I didn't think this was real.
Enter today, win tomorrow.
Yeah, girl, they are here.
Our next $10 million winner could be you.
A shocking prediction from religious broadcaster Pat Robertson, a mass killing that could kill millions of Americans. Let's turn to our Mary Snow. She has the details. Mary?
Well, Wolf, this latest vision from Pat Robertson is just the latest in a series of predictions and proclamations that have drawn attention to Robertson and at times made him a lightning rod for controversy.
Television evangelist Pat Robertson says with confidence the message came to him straight from God. Evil people will come after the U.S. in the second half of 2007.
I'm not saying necessarily nuclear. The Lord didn't say nuclear, but I do believe it'll be something like that. That'll be a mass killing, possibly millions of people.
Robertson regularly shares his predictions on his program, The 700 Club. Last spring, he said God warned him there'd be coastal storms, perhaps even a tsunami in the U.S. In 2004, Robertson said God told him President Bush would be reelected in a blowout. Actually, Mr. Bush won 51% of the vote that year. But one religion writer says at the same time Robertson is drawing attention, he's widening the distance between himself and evangelicals.
The eyes roll and people are really embarrassed by it. He is certainly not speaking for the evangelical mainstream when he says things of this nature.
Robertson often injects himself into controversial debates. In 2005, he chastised a Pennsylvania town for rejecting the teachings of intelligent design and choosing to only teach the theory of evolution.
I'd like to say to the good citizens of Dover, if there is a disaster in your area, don't turn to God. You just rejected him from your city.
Robertson's Christian Broadcasting Network claims it has an audience of 1 million viewers. Experts say he's targeting a small group of evangelicals who believe in prophecies. But some suggest that he sparks controversy in an attempt to broaden his base. Last January, Robertson created a furor, suggesting former Israeli Prime Minister Ariel Sharon suffered a stroke as punishment from God for removing Israeli settlers from Gaza. Robertson later apologized.
I think he's willing to take his licks. He certainly knows that he has a penchant for doing this. He's had to apologize in the past, and yet he continues.
Robertson also apologized after calling for the assassination of Venezuelan President Hugo Chavez in 2005.
And in his latest statement, Robertson says that God told him that the policies of the Israeli administration are, quote, toxic. Wolf?
Mary, thanks for that. Mary Snow in New York. That's it for us. Let's go to Lou Dobbs in New York. Lou?
Wolf, tonight, President Bush challenging the new democratically controlled Congress to work with Republicans for the good of the nation. But is bipartisanship simply a political slogan for both parties? We'll have live reports for you tonight from the White House and Capitol Hill. Also, the anti-war protester Cindy Sheehan and her supporters break up a news conference on Capitol Hill being held by House Democrats to talk about a program that they insist did not include the war on Iraq. We'll have that story and a graphic new illustration of the massive and widening gap between working men and women in this country and this country's corporate elites. Another top CEO resigning with a pay package of a mere $200 million for his efforts. We'll have that special report, all of the day's news, a great deal more. Straight ahead, here tonight.
This is Lou Dobbs Tonight. News, debate, and opinion for Wednesday, January 3rd. Live in New York, Lou Dobbs.
Good evening, everybody. President Bush today declared that Republicans and Democrats have a clear opportunity to work together in the new Congress, which convenes tomorrow. President Bush called on the Congress to set aside politics and focus on the future as he outlined his domestic agenda for the next 2 years. But as President Bush delivered those remarks, hopes of a new spirit of bipartisanship on Capitol Hill evaporated. Congressional Republicans are furious with Democrats over their plans to push reforms through the House in the first 100 hours. Dana Bash reports tonight from Capitol Hill on the new political battles, and Suzanne Malveaux reports from the White House on the president's PR offensive. And Jamie McIntyre tonight reporting from the Pentagon on the military's urgent new efforts to build up the capabilities of the Iraqi army. We turn first to Dana Bash on Capitol Hill. Dana?
Well, Lou, there certainly is an electricity here in the halls of Congress. Anticipation about the changing of the guard tomorrow morning, and bipartisanship definitely is the buzzword. CNN has learned that the White House even sent a plane to get Senate Democratic leaders who were at Gerald Ford's funeral in Michigan to bring them back in order to be at a reception at the White House with the president today. But despite all of that, there are already early signs of partisan strain. Across Washington, perfunctory promises to reach across party lines.
We're very clear that we want to work in a bipartisan fashion.
I'm looking forward to working with the new Congress.
Republicans want to work with Democrats.
Sounds great, but listen on.
It appears that the first 100 hours of the Democrats' legislative agenda will come through a smoke-filled room.
We're clearly disappointed.
In my opinion, it looks as if the American people have been duped.
Not exactly the new Kumbaya Congress leading lawmakers have promised. GOP congressmen are up in arms that Democrats plan to push their so-called first 100-hour agenda through the House, from ethics rules to a minimum wage hike, and limit Republicans' ability to offer competing proposals. It's instant role reversal.
The lack of consultation with the minority, I am very disappointed.
Republicans complaining about the very tactics they used against Democrats for 12 years, and Democrats preparing to use their majority in a muscular fashion that for 12 years they described as abusive.
Let's not have a charade about what they decide is bipartisan.
Republicans argue Nancy Pelosi is breaking her promise to make the House more open and bipartisan in order to make sure she quickly passes her campaign agenda.
This is a missed opportunity to really change the way that the House does business.
Democrats insist they will be more open to Republican concerns after they deliver on their top election promises.
We ran on an agenda, the Democrats, to move this country in a new direction and to bring change.
But it's hardly just the complaints about rules and procedures undermining all the talk of bipartisanship. The biggest reason is competing agendas. The president, for example, in one breath talked of working with Democrats, but in the next pushed an idea Democrats vehemently oppose.
The need to keep this economy growing by making tax relief permanent.
House Democrats did unveil this afternoon some details about their first order of business, and that is changing the House ethics rules. Among the provisions they will be debating on Thursday and Friday of this week will be banning any lobbyist-funded travel and gifts, and also full disclosure, public disclosure of earmarks. Earmarks, of course, Lou, being lawmakers' pet funding projects.
Absolutely. Dana, thank you very much. Dana Bash from Capitol Hill. Also on Capitol Hill, the anti-war protester Cindy Sheehan and her supporters today broke up a news conference being held by House Democrats to discuss ethics reform and reform of lobbying efforts on Capitol Hill. Sheehan and a dozen of her supporters drowned out Democratic Caucus Chairman Rahm Emanuel as he tried to speak to reporters about the Democratic efforts to reform specifically lobbying. Emanuel quickly decided to simply abandon that news conference and retreated to the caucus room. Sheehan said the grassroots had put the Democrats in power and Democrats should be focusing on Iraq and bring home our troops. President Bush today said he is committed to tackling what he calls the most urgent needs of this country. In his statement in the Rose Garden today, President Bush outlined his domestic agenda for the last 2 years of his administration. The president will announce the new strategy for the war in Iraq as well next week. Suzanne Malveaux reports from the White House.
Emerging from his first cabinet meeting of the year, President Bush didn't even mention Iraq, but once again framing it as part of the war on terror.
The need to protect ourselves from radicals and terrorists. The needs to win the war on terror.
Instead, he tried to sell his domestic agenda to the incoming Democratic-controlled Congress.
And together we have important things to do.
The president's Rose Garden message and rare op-ed in Wednesday's Wall Street Journal calling for bipartisanship reflects Mr. Bush's new political reality, that he needs to change course to get things done. But even within his own party, the question remains, is he willing to change course in Iraq by possibly calling for more U.S. troops?
I think it's very clear that the administration is very open to this possibility.
The conservative policy group, the American Enterprise Institute, has been lobbying the White House to order such a surge. Insiders say the debate over the prospect has been fierce, but that the president is likely to send anywhere from 20 to 40,000 additional men and women.
I don't think this is a question simply of stubbornness and refusal to admit defeat. I think this is a question of the administration recognizing that defeat will have terrible consequences.
But some warn if the president does sign off on more troops, it could be devastating.
We already surged back in the fall, and what happened is more Americans died when we surged. The Iraqis were supposed to send 6 battalions into Baghdad along with the extra 7,000 American troops. Only 2 showed up. So when people say, well, you got to train them more, it's not a question of training, it's motivation.
But the bottom line, White House officials insist, is Mr. Bush has not signed off on anything yet.
It's not done yet. The policy is not done. He is still targeting people.
And Lou, those who are familiar with the president's deliberations over Iraq say they expect those consultations, discussions to wrap up sometime on Friday, and then on Monday, White House officials will reach out and make courtesy calls to members of Congress to brief them on the president's Iraq plan, and then it's likely Tuesday or Wednesday the president will present his plan to the American people in a national address. Lou?
And Cindy Sheehan and her anti-war demonstrators are apparently there at the White House now. Is that right, Suzanne?
That's right. You might be able to hear them in the background. Cindy Sheehan and others have been announcing, calling for the names of American soldiers lost in the Iraq War.
Suzanne, thank you very much. Suzanne Malveaux from the White House. The military today reported the deaths of 3 more of our troops in Iraq. The 3 soldiers were killed in separate incidents near Baghdad. 116 of our troops were killed in Iraq in December. That is the 3rd highest monthly total in this entire war. 3,006 of our troops have been killed, including 1 now this month. 22,565 of our troops have been wounded, 10,107 of them so seriously they could not return to duty within 3 days. The U.S. military today said it's moving forward with plans to give the Iraqi government total control of the Iraqi army by the end of this year. This despite serious and persistent concerns that many Iraqi army divisions are simply incapable of fighting the insurgents without American support. Some Iraqi units are even believed to be sympathetic to the enemy. Jimmy McIntyre reports from the Pentagon now. Jimmy?
We'll lose some boldly optimistic predictions from the top military spokesman in Iraq today, who said that by year's end, all 11 Iraqi divisions will be capable of operating independently, although they may still need some logistics and intelligence support from the U.S. Major General Bill Caldwell acknowledged what he called some disheartening lows in 2006, but said by this time next year, the dynamic in Iraq will be, quote, completely different.
Really, the key difference that you're going to see in 2007 is this is truly the year of transition and adaptation. We are going to transition, and by the summertime have turned back over, ensured that all Iraqi army divisions are back under the Iraqi Ground Forces Command, that they'll be in charge of all the command and control of all the Iraqi ground forces.
General Caldwell also said the Iraqi government is investing $1.5 billion in upgraded equipment, including new Huey helicopters, 300 armored vehicles, 600 armored Humvees. But let's not forget that a year ago, General George Casey, the top commander, was similarly optimistic, predicting that over the course of the year, the U.S. troops would be able to be withdrawn as Iraqi troops stepped up and that the violence would wane. We know a year later, those predictions didn't come true. Lou, sorry.
Thank you, Jimmy. I appreciate it. Jimmy McIntyre from the Pentagon. A new CNN opinion poll shows nearly 80% of voters say it is time for significant changes in the U.S. policy in the war in Iraq. The poll, conducted by Opinion Research Corporation, also says voters from both political parties now support key elements of the Democratic agenda in the new Congress. Bill Snyder reports.
The new House Democratic majority is all set to hit the ground running. How far will they get?
The reality is those items have to clear the Senate, where supermajorities will be needed, and then be signed by the president.
The Democratic majorities are small, 1 vote in the Senate. They can't do much without Republican support. Many items on the Democrats' agenda are also favored by Republicans, allowing the federal government to negotiate lower drug prices, raising the minimum wage, cutting the interest rate on student loans, implementing the recommendations of the 9/11 Commission, ethics reform. A couple are favored by Democrats, but not Republicans, banning private Social Security accounts, funding embryonic stem cell research. Neither Democrats nor Republicans favor reducing federal tax breaks for oil companies and changing the rules so that Congress can create new spending programs only if taxes are raised or spending on other programs is cut. Message to Democrats: be careful about taxing and spending. Americans voted to end the partisan bickering. Republicans are complaining that by suspending regular House procedures for the first 100 hours, the Democrats are using their new majority to run over them. The Democrats' response?
All of these have been vetted through the committee process. Some of them have even passed on the floor.
To voters, the most urgent issue is Iraq. Now, are House Democrats running away from that issue? It's not on their 100-hour agenda. But Iraq will be the focus of committee hearings in both the House and Senate. And those hearings may be where the real action is. Lou?
Bill, thank you very much. Bill Snyder. Coming up next here, corporate ethics in this country giving way to, well, you can't imagine this, but greed. Generous severance deals, big pay packages for CEOs as our middle class struggles to keep up. We'll have that special report. Also, the Catholic Church at it again, or still, supporting amnesty for illegal aliens, blasting efforts to enforce our immigration laws and secure borders. We'll have that story, and the Bush administration appears determined to give amnesty to illegal aliens and benefits that hardworking Americans have taken years to earn. We'll have that special report, a great deal more. Still ahead. Stay with us.
The all-new BMW X5. With room for 7, we've expanded on a great idea.
Right now, we'll give you top-quality vitamins and supplements for just 89 cents. That's right, just 89 cents. These, essential for a healthy heart. These, for joint support. These, to help your memory. Or any of these. And not just any vitamins. They're from Puritan's Pride, the #1 direct-to-you vitamin manufacturer. Just 89 cents each when you call now for these special introductory coupons. How can we do it? We're the manufacturer. We make them with the highest quality ingredients. We sell them directly to you, and right now you can try them for just 89 cents. There's no obligation. Your satisfaction is 100% guaranteed. Plus, call now and you'll get the complete Puritan's Pride discount catalog free. You'll also get a $10 off bonus coupon good for any of the 1,400 top-quality products you'll find inside.
Call now for this special bonus, the Comprehensive Vitamins and Supplements to Live By Guide. Yours free. Call or go to PuritanTV.com right now.
I'm 77 years old, and I work as a waitress.
Osteo Biflex, the #1 doctor-recommended joint care brand.
I work 10, 12, 14 hours a day. I exercise. I walk 3 miles in the morning.
The glucosamine and chondroitin, as found in Osteo Biflex, actually lubricates and cushions your joints.
I just couldn't do it without Osteo Biflex.
For a $3 off coupon and more information on Osteo Biflex, go to osteobiflex.com right now.
Closed captioning hours provided by Nature's Tears Eye Mist Dry Relief.
Nature's Tears Eye Mist, the natural way to soothe and moisturize tired, strained, dry eyes. Nature's Tears Eye Mist. Now, doesn't that feel better?
An agreement with Mexico, awaiting the president's signature, could put benefits from our overburdened Social Security system in the hands of hundreds of thousands of illegal aliens. And Immigration Customs Enforcement finds itself under legal attack over its raids that swept up more than 1,200 illegal aliens. Christine Romans tonight reports on a government plan that will make it easier for illegal aliens to collect U.S. Social Security. Bill Tucker reports on the Catholic Church and its efforts to attack ICE for its raids on illegal workers. But first, we turn to Christine Romans with an astounding story. Christine.
Lou, after 3.5 years of legal battle, details are emerging now about an agreement between the U.S. and Mexico to expand Social Security benefits to Mexican citizens working in the United States.
An illegal alien working with a fraudulent Social Security number has been paying into Social Security. Once that worker gains legal status, he can claim those Social Security credits and tap into Social Security benefits. The Bush administration wants Mexico citizens working in this country to qualify for Social Security payments, and in some cases, illegal aliens will benefit too. The U.S.-Mexico Social Security Totalization Act will help workers qualify even sooner, in as little as 18 months.
As far as how much they have to work in the United States to eliminate the dual taxation and claim benefits here in the U.S., they would only have to work 6 credits.
She represents 1.2 million senior citizens who filed a Freedom of Information Act request to get a look at the agreement, which awaits the president's signature. Critics say it's a costly giveaway at a time when Social Security's solvency is in doubt. But the Social Security Administration estimates the agreement will cost $105 million a year for the first 5 years and will have, quote, a negligible long-range effect on the Social Security Trust Fund. But there have been concerns for years about this. The Government Accountability Office in 2003 warned, quote, the proposed agreement will likely increase the number of unauthorized Mexican workers and family members eligible for Social Security benefits.
The White House today says the president has not yet signed this agreement, and he has no immediate plans to. But under current law, many of these benefits are already available to illegal aliens once they do gain legal status, Lou.
Now, let's put this in context.
Sure.
It takes an American citizen 10 years to gain Social Security eligibility and benefits.
That's right.
An illegal alien under this law, should the president have the temerity to sign it, and he's shown no reluctance to work in behalf of the Mexican government, how long do they have to work?
6 credits, they call it. That's 18 months. So they work 8.5 years in Mexico, and then the U.S. government recognizes that time in Mexico as part of the 10 years it's needed in the United States.
That is absolutely insane. How do they excuse this? And how do they come up with that estimate of 105 million? This government doesn't even know how many illegal aliens are in this country. Somewhere between 11 million and 20 million are the estimates. So how can they have an estimate of any kind?
Well, that's something the GAO pointed out. They said any risk would be to the high side of any kind of estimates, but the Social Security Administration disputed that GAO finding. In terms of how they can say that they want to do this with Mexico, they do it with 21 other countries, but those are industrialized countries, and the critics point out that their Social Security operations in, say, Switzerland, in Canada, in some of these other countries, the UK, are far, far different than Mexico's.
And this president, with the audacity to go forward with this, I mean, this is just when you think that this government can't show more arrogance or more ignorance on the issue of border security and immigration, it outdoes itself. Christine, thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Christine Romans. That brings us to the subject of our poll tonight. Do you believe our already broken Social Security system can handle the demand of paying benefits to illegal aliens who have worked in this country a whole 18 months? Yes or no? Cast your vote at LouDobbs.com. The results coming up here later. Immigration and Customs officials tonight are under fire. They're facing new lawsuits and an attack from the Catholic Church over last month's raids that netted more than 1,000 illegal aliens working at Swift meatpacking plants in 6 states. This outrage over the fact that a federal agency actually, for a change, and so rarely, actually enforced U.S. law. Bill Tucker reports.
Even before these raids were carried out, they were mired in legal challenge. Swift & Company filing request for a temporary restraining order to stop the raids from taking place. Since the raids, 4 additional lawsuits representing 256 people have been filed. Not all of the complaints are of the legal kind. The Minnesota Catholic Conference, led by a group of 7 bishops, is angry about the raids, saying they've heartlessly divided families, and they are calling for an end to any enforcement action.
We're saying let the politicians solve the law. That's their responsibility, but they aren't even doing that. They have to stand up and say the system is broken. Now we must address the dignity of human beings. We must address the fact that we have 12 million people living in our country. We can't split up families by sending some back. There has to be a process that allows these things to become legalized.
Bishop Harrington's diocese includes the town of Worthington, Minnesota. 15 of the people arrested in Worthington have been charged with aggravated identity theft. A spokesman for Immigration and Customs Enforcement says the raids were law enforcement actions and nothing more. Quote, Immigration and Customs Enforcement targets its efforts at those breaking the law. If you're breaking the law, you shouldn't be surprised that you might be caught in an enforcement action. Advocates for enforcement of immigration law find it disturbing that the ICE action is being met with protest over the simple fact that an agency is fulfilling its responsibility under the law.
If the men and women in ICE are going to get beat up politically here, or even have their careers in jeopardy for, number 1, enforcing the law, and number 2, targeting felonies perpetrated against U.S. citizens, I don't think we have much hope for the U.S. government enforcing immigration laws.
In his view, the consequences are dire, particularly with an administration that has never supported immigration enforcement. Now, ICE has won all the legal challenges and complaints against it, except for one. That's where the plaintiff has complained that he's fluent only in the Mayan tongue Quechua, and ICE failed to provide his notice to appear in that language. Now, Lou, I know it sounds nuts, but it's true. In the complaint, the plaintiff admits that he is here illegally, Lou.
Couldn't they have gotten Mel Gibson to do translation or something? I mean, that's striking. You know, I just, as I said to Christine, just about the time you think this government can't display more ignorance, more arrogance, you come up against a Catholic Church lecturing on a very secular matter, and that is border enforcement and U.S. law. These sanctimonious bishops are just out of control. What in the world are they thinking?
I don't know, and you can't help but wonder, would they be so forgiving and so easy if these people were breaking church law?
Yeah, well, I won't go there, but there is plenty of public record on that regard as well. Thank you very much, Bill Tucker. Coming up next, the gap between this nation's wealthiest and its poorest citizens continues to widen. We'll have a report on why. And the new Congress making big promises about looking out for the middle class. Some are saying it's business as usual, however, in Washington. Let's hope not. We'll hear from our distinguished panel of political analysts. 2 U.S. Border Patrol agents convicted of shooting a Mexican drug smuggler are preparing to report to prison, while his immunity from prosecution keeps him from prison. We'll be talking with 2 congressmen who are trying to right this wrong. Stay with us.
Tonight, intolerance in America. What's just below the surface? Paula Zahn brings everything out in the open. Tonight, 8 Eastern.
Cholesterol. My doctor said to watch it. So I ride my bike, eat the good stuff, and take garlic every day.
Garlic's clinically proven ingredient maintains healthy cholesterol naturally.
The doctor's happy. So am I.
Eat right, exercise, garlic.
Does back pain limit your motion?
Get relief with Icy Hot Pro Therapy. Powered by Hot Packs. Up to 8 hours of muscle-relaxing, pain-relieving heat that goes where you go. Icy Hot Pro Therapy.
Strong support plus powerful relief.
My favorite NBA League Pass moment?
Oh, wow. Of course, it's Kobe's 81.
Kobe goes straight to the dribble, in the lane, laid up.
He's one of the most exciting players in the league.
I was just sitting at home in Jersey watching NBA League Pass. History tonight. I'm thinking he's going for 100.
I'm watching the game live, online,
through NBA League Pass broadband. You want to score big? Get the NBA League Pass on digital cable.
Check out a free preview of NBA League Pass on digital cable, January 22nd to the 28th. When it comes to sports, we're on your team.
CNN Special Investigations Unit, series premiere, CNN Saturday, January 20th.
You can feel the emotion of the movies the way filmmakers intend, but only if you have accurate and dramatic sound. For the full experience, you need lifelike surround sound. This is the new Lifestyle 48 DVD home entertainment system, the premium home theater system from Bose. The original has been called Home Entertainment Perfection.
The surround sound is just fantastic.
Room size, shape, and furnishings can significantly affect the sound from any system. The Bose Adapt IQ system addresses this to bring lifelike sound to any room.
It makes it feel like you're at the game.
Hear the difference Bose technology makes. Call for the store nearest you or for more information. Purchase a new Lifestyle 48 system by February 3rd and you'll receive the renowned Bose Wave Radio. Lifestyle home entertainment systems, only from Bose, the most respected name in sound.
A stunning example tonight of the widening divide between this country's wealthy elites and our middle class. The CEO of Home Depot, Ray Nardelli, leaving his job, but taking away $210 million. Lisa Sylvester reports.
Home Depot began the year by cleaning house. CEO Robert Nardelli parted ways with the company under a mutual agreement. The chief executive has been under fire from shareholders. The stock price is now lower than the day Nardelli walked in the door. despite the fact he collected more than $150 million in 6 years with an annual bonus of $3 million. Like a new breed of CEOs, Nardelli's compensation package was virtually guaranteed and includes a platinum parachute of another $210 million.
He came in with a huge package that was guaranteed, and now he's leaving with even a bigger package that's guaranteed. And in between, shareholders get very little return.
Congressman Barney Frank heads the House Financial Services Committee. He's pushing for legislation that would allow stockholders to vote on corporate compensation packages like Robert Nardelli's.
It is excessive, particularly given the fact that they were firing him.
Other CEOs that have had a lucrative exit include Pfizer's former CEO Hank McKinnell. He received $200 million. Former Fannie Mae CEO Franklin Raines will receive a $1.5 million pension every year for life plus stocks. He was forced out for irregular company accounting. Critics say these jumbo compensation packages are downright obscene when stacked against the wages of the average employee.
In the first 2 hours and 2 minutes of the first workday of the year, the CEOs at large companies in America, those with $1 billion in revenue or more, will have already made more than a minimum wage worker will make for an entire year.
Shareholder groups are also pushing for more transparency. Many executive compensation packages are kept a secret. For example, Home Depot has named a new CEO, but will not reveal his take-home pay.
Runaway executive pay is an issue that should receive more attention now that Democrats are in control of Congress. They are concerned not only because of the disparity between the CEOs at the top and the average worker, but also because of the impact it has on workers' pensions. Lou?
And it's an example, and unfortunately it is a gross example, where the SEC does have a legitimate ability here under law and regulation to inquire into whether or not the shareholders of Home Depot have actually been diminished as a result of the actions of the board, which has permitted this pay, and the failure of Nardelli to deliver anything remotely resembling shareholder value, which is often the Wall Street jargon to rationalize these obscene and excessive pay packages. It's remarkable. Lisa, thank you very much. Lisa Sylvester from Washington. The AFL-CIO Secretary-Treasurer Richard Trumka had this to say about Home Depot's payout to Nardelli. Home Depot, he said, must take critical steps to ensure that working men and women who are interested in the company are not victims of runaway executive pay or options abuse. It seems way too late for that. Up next, 2 U.S. Border Patrol agents about to go to prison for doing their jobs, Congressman Walter Jones and Congressman Ted Poe. They want those agents to receive a presidential pardon. They're working to achieve just that. They'll be our guests here, and the new Congress hasn't yet convened, but it's business as usual already. We'll have a report on what we can expect with the Democrats now in control of Congress, and more than a dozen people dead after 2 massive winter storms in the West. That story, a great deal more, coming right up. Stay with us.
What do you know about computers?
My daughter definitely knows how to use a computer better than I do half the time, and she's 3.5.
Hi, I'm John Scherer, CEO and founder of Video Professor. I've been hearing comments like that for over 18 years now. Listen to this.
I did the Excel, and it was a lot of fun. Really? I had a real good time. I learned a lot.
The difference, just 1 hour with one of my CDs, and they're easy to use. The CD plays like a video on your computer screen. Just follow the step-by-step instructions. And if you call right now, I'll send you any lesson of your choice free. The reason I can do this is because I know that once you try my product, you'll come back to us for all your computer learning needs. If you can't learn for any reason, I'll not only refund your shipping and processing, but I'll send you $10. So learn a new skill in less than an hour. Try my product.
I think that's the most fun I've had learning something about the computer.
To get your free computer learning CD, you must call now. Call 1-800-701-3063.
What does it mean when we say no one can do what Countrywide can? It means if other lenders can't get it done, we can. It means we can offer home loans to get cash fast, to pay off credit cards or remodel a kitchen. It means as your life changes, our loans can change with you, to lower your payments or to help pay for college. It means with more good loans for more good reasons. No bank, no lender, no one can do what Countrywide can. Call us 1-800-CAN-DO-88.
The days of official mourning are ended. Former President Gerald R. Ford has reached his final resting place. An estimated 57,000 people filed past Ford's casket at his Presidential Museum in Grand Rapids, Michigan. A final funeral service held at Grace Episcopal Church, where the Ford family has worshipped since the 1940s. The 38th President of the United States laid to rest on a hillside overlooking the Presidential Museum. 13 deaths are now blamed on the back-to-back blizzard striking the nation's Midwest. New Mexico, one of several states where residents in rural areas were cut off for days. National Guard helicopters are dropping MREs, meals ready to eat, near remote houses. Bales of hay being dropped for cattle. One big challenge remaining, restoring power to thousands of customers. As one guardsman put it, you lose power out here, you might as well be in the 1985. The Democrats take over control of the House and the Senate tomorrow, and their leaders have outlined ambitious plans. But there are already signs that bitter partisanship may derail some of that agenda, at least, leaving the nation's middle class no better than they were under the Republicans. Candy Crowley joins us now live with this preview. Candy, we're going to see a lot of celebrating over the next few days with the Democrats in particular. What do you think we can expect to be accomplished?
Well, I think what you'll see is some of the, I wouldn't look for anything big. The president talked today about Social Security reform and Medicare reform. There are just so many fundamental differences between Democrats and Republicans on this. I don't see anything major happening on it. But you do have things like minimum wage, which Democrats are determined, an increase in minimum wage, Democrats are determined to put out there. The president has signaled that he's ready to discuss that. So you could get a minimum wage. You could get a decrease in the interest on student loans. So the Democrats have put forth what basically is a modest agenda, ethics reform, maybe having an outside ethics investigations when needed, that sort of thing. Looks like they may, who's going to vote against ethics reform? I'm not sure there's a single person up there that'll do it.
Well, Kenny, as you know, that isn't the way they do it down yonder. They simply let it die of its own accord. The Democrats have the capacity here. And we will certainly, we in the national news media will be holding them accountable on this, because we've seen what happens over the past 30 years when the House and the Senate, under the control of either party, it's embarked on excesses that were unimaginable.
Absolutely, absolutely. And I think ethics is one thing that they're not going to be able, there's so much focus has been on that. And we know from the exit polls in the election that corruption was one of the things that people did go out and vote on. So there's that, but there's so many things in the faiths that argue against major reforms. There is not much of a majority in the Senate, as you know. Right. The one thing that I think, you know, that will get a good look is immigration reform. As you know, the president was closer to the Democrats than he was to the Republicans on this, and if they're going to accomplish something major, it may be immigration reform.
Yeah, when you call it immigration reform, you know, I'm as an old and getting older reporter, when I hear that word reform, I get real suspicious, especially
How about just an immigration bill?
Yeah, it's an illegal immigration amnesty and giveaway in the minds of some, and I would be one of those some. Thank you very much, Candy Crowley. We look forward to your reporting as you begin on this this new era. Thank you very much.
New adventure. Thanks, Lou.
Coming up next, 2 U.S. Border Patrol agents preparing to go to prison for doing their job, trying to protect us from drug traffickers. We'll be joined by 2 U.S. congressmen fighting this grave wrong. Stay with us.
Are there places in your home where you wish you had a light, but you don't?
Hi, Anthony Sullivan here for the wireless stick-up light bulb. A battery-operated light bulb that you can install without an electrician. Just stick up the base, slide in the bulb, and you've got light. It's that easy. There's no wires and no complicated installation. Now you can have light anytime, any place, anywhere. Just stick it up, pull the cord, and you've got light. The stick-up bulb is safe for kids, and it easily puts light within their reach. Unlike glass bulbs that break, the stick-up bulb is shatterproof if you drop it. There's no dangerous wires to mess with either. The stick-up bulb installs instantly, stays cool to the touch, and has a 10-year guarantee. Around the house or on the car, don't use hot clip-on lights when you can use the stick-up bulb. The stick-up bulb is perfect for attics and basements. Have a closet that needs illumination? Use the stick-up bulb. Just stick it up, and you've got light. Use one anywhere you need extra light. Nothing's easier to fit underneath the kitchen counter, and they're perfect inside for a tool shed if you don't have power. Use them outside as a wireless light for decks or patios, and they're great for camping in RVs. If the power goes out, you can depend on the power of the stick-up bulb, and each one slides out to become a handy lantern. This electrician charged $180 to install one light bulb. Call now and you'll get the wireless stick-up bulb for just $10. But call right now and we'll throw in a second stick-up bulb free. Just pay separate shipping and handling. That's 2 wireless stick-up bulbs, all for just $10. Here's how to order.
Call 1-800-459-1274 and order stick-up bulb for a new and special low price of only $10, and you'll get a second stick-up bulb for free. That's 1-800-459-1274. This offer is not available in any retail store, so use your credit card and call 1-800-459-1274. 1-800-459-1274. Call now.
A new study shows that a key component of what some call the North American Union simply won't work. A Texas A&M transportation study shows the Trans-Texas Corridor, that's the superhighway from the Mexican border across Texas, won't meet the state's needs and will lack necessary funding. As it stands, the overall plan, officially called the Security Prosperity Partnership in North America, it was signed by the presidents of the United States and Mexico, the Prime Minister of Canada, without congressional debate, approval, national dialogue, or discussion. It has major corporate backers, of course. Its goal is for the 3 countries to integrate their economies. Critics say the union fights U.S. interest and could be the first step to a loss of U.S. sovereignty. It wouldn't be the first step, but a first major step, at least under the terms of this agreement. We'll see what happens, and we're going to follow it very closely on this broadcast. 2 U.S. Border Patrol agents who were convicted of shooting a Mexican drug dealer that they were at the time pursuing across the border are scheduled to begin serving their prison terms later this month. Their supporters say the agents were simply doing their jobs. Members of Congress have petitioned the president to pardon those agents. 2 of the congressmen join us here tonight. Congressman Ted Poe, Republican from Texas. Congressman Walter Jones, Republican from North Carolina. Gentlemen, good to have you with us. Let me turn first to you, Congressman Jones. The idea that the president has not even, how many of you signed this, the letter first? 50 congressmen?
Yes, sir. We sent a letter back in December, initiated by Dana Rohrabacher, with 55 members of Congress asking the president to consider a pardon. I myself have sent 3 letters to the President of the United States, and I have been so disappointed in the indifference of this White House and the president, quite frankly.
He hasn't responded? Not one of his senior aides has called you or said?
Well, we received a no response, if I can put it that way, from the Justice Department that said nothing, quite frankly.
The same story for you, Congressman?
Yes, the letters that we sent to the president, we didn't get a letter back from the president at the White House. No. We got a letter back from a junior U.S. attorney in the Justice Department saying the U.S. Attorney's Office is not going to do anything about the case.
You know, before we even get to the merits of this, you're both Republicans. You've both been to the White House. You rubbed shoulders with this president. You're from Texas, for crying out loud. How long have you known this president?
I've known the president a long time, even before he was governor of the state.
So
15 years.
So he doesn't really. How do you explain this?
I don't understand it. It seems to be blissful indifference at the administrative level on this issue of the border agents that were wrongfully convicted in this matter.
You and everyone who watches this broadcast knows, you and Congressman Jones, yes, that the U.S. Justice Department had to go after these 2 agents. They had to make a conscious decision to do this, and they had to do so, it seems, I'll say it straight out, so I'd love to hear what you think, but it seems like they had to do so at direct orders of Alberto Gonzales, the U.S. Attorney General.
Lou, I will speak quickly because Ted's a former judge in Texas, but I will tell you what I know about it, and I'm learning something new each and every day. I'll be speaking to one of the attorneys for one of these 2 men tomorrow morning. I believe sincerely that this whole prosecution of these 2 men is one of the greatest examples of an injustice that I have ever seen, and somewhere along the way, I think there's a skunk.
You got an idea where that skunk is, Congressman Paul?
The Justice Department had a choice here to prosecute a known drug dealer bringing in a lot of dope to the United States, or prosecute 2 border agents that violated some policy, and they chose the side of the illegal drug smuggler over the border agents. And that seems to be the policy of our federal government When in doubt, take the side of the illegals. And I think the American public is tired of that policy from the Justice Department.
Well, you know, I won't speak for anybody but myself, but I'm sure tired of what looks like to be sheer accommodation to the government of Mexico rather than inspired defense of U.S. sovereignty and the men and women who support and defend the borders of this country. I mean,
no question about it. These two border agents, one of them nominated for Border Agent of the Year, doing their job, and they're being punished for doing their job. Our government's on the wrong side of this issue. We treated the illegal, taxpayers treated the illegal. He's suing the federal government for $5 million. He's a known drug smuggler. He was given immunity from prosecution for bringing drugs into the United States.
The Border Patrol Council, the union, tells me, Congressman Jones, that this would have been an administrative issue, the firing of their weapons, unless the U.S. attorney decides to go after this case, give a drug dealer immunity to testify against two agents who everyone said is satisfied, was transporting drugs, fleeing our federal agents. I mean, I don't understand it.
Lou, as you know, the federal prosecutor wanted to charge these and did charge them with attempted murder for shooting an illegal drug smuggler, as you said. And I hope, Lou, I want to thank you and CNN for your interest in this issue. And I want to remind the people watching this show that they can call 202-456-1111 and let their outrage speak to the President of the United States and remind him that he is to defend this country from an invasion south of the border, in this case, a drug smuggler.
Well, you know, when you can't even get the Republican president to respond to a fellow Texan, two Republican congressmen respond to 55 U.S. congressmen.
Right.
I even called the White House this week asking for even a verbal response and didn't get any response to that.
You know, there's arrogance and there's sorry arrogance. Where does this fit?
Well, we need an answer, and we deserve an answer, and I'm not going to categorize which type of arrogance. Lou, I'll let you do that.
I'll leave those choices to the viewers, but it's one or the other, and it sure isn't right. Thank you very much, gentlemen. Thank you for pursuing this and pursuing a further investigation.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, gentlemen. Congressman Poe, Congressman Jones. Coming up at the top of the hour here, Situation Room with Wolf Blitzer. Wolf?
Thanks very much, Lou. Are Nouri al-Maliki's days as Iraq's prime minister numbered? And how angry are U.S. officials with Iraq for the growing controversy over Saddam Hussein's execution? We'll get some answers from Pulitzer Prize-winning New York Times reporter John Burns in Baghdad. Also, a dire warning from a top religious broadcaster of a terrorist attack he says could kill millions of Americans. We'll have details of Pat Robertson's prediction and where he says he's getting his information. Plus, the new Democratic leadership poised to make history tomorrow. We're going to show you something you might not know about Harry Reid and Nancy Pelosi. All that coming up right here in the Situation Room. Lou?
Wolf, thank you. Coming up next, our political roundtable. Democrats, are they taking control of Congress to make good on promises of bipartisanship, or just taking control of Congress? Stay with us.
Larry King tonight, exclusive. She says she's James Brown's widow. Her first interview since she got locked out of his house. Larry King, tonight 9 Eastern, only on CNN.
The Portland Winterhawks and Comcast CNW 14 provide hard-hitting, fast-paced hockey action. It's on TV, and it's in the center of Hockey Town, Portland's Memorial Coliseum. Nearly 100 former Winterhawks have played in the National Hockey League. Come and see the best 17 to 20-year-old hockey players in the world. And when you can't make the game, catch the action on Comcast CNW 14.
I've been waiting for so long. Now I finally found someone to stand by me. We saw the writing on the wall as we felt this magical fantasy.
If you're tired of paying for high-priced, old-fashioned help wanted ads in the newspaper, then do what over 1,000 other business owners have done. Make the switch to PortlandJobFinder.com, brought to you in partnership with Comcast Spotlight.
Portland Job Finder has helped us a lot with our manufacturing, production, and also the management recruiting. Their customer service has been awesome, and we recommend it to all other businesses.
PortlandJobFinder.com. We're the faster, more effective way to find and hire the local employees that you need now.
How fast is your quarter mile?
Oh, 5 minutes 10?
How fast is your internet?
Oh, well, with Comcast, it's way faster than my old DSL.
They have this thing called Power Boost. Fastest thing I've ever seen. Games, music, videos.
I'm so glad I came back to Comcast.
Comes with free Mac, free security.
It's fast, and it's safe.
Well, they're making the internet fun again.
I only pay $33 a month for a whole year. I've never had a service disruption either.
So you can keep on running.
Exactly.
CNN Special Investigations Unit. Series premiere, CNN Saturday, January 20th.
Joining me now, three of the very best political analysts in the country. Former White House political director, Republican strategist Ed Rollins, Democratic strategist, Democratic National Committee man Robert Zimmerman, and New York Daily News columnist and editorial board member Errol Lewis. Gentlemen, good to have you with us. My gosh, the president wrote an editorial in the Wall Street Journal, gave a Rose Garden statement. It's
Guess it was his party's fault. It sounds like it was the Republicans that were basically keeping him from doing everything he wanted to do.
I mean, it was a remarkable performance. I mean, he's figured out that he wants line item veto. He talked about working people, small business people, entrepreneurs. What happened to all those big multinationals and corporate America that's been dominating his agenda for 6 years?
I don't know. He was Christmas spirit, whatever. But the key thing, the key thing is he'll have good cooperation for about a day, and once they get through their victory parties tomorrow, and we'll get back to trench warfare next week, and he's got a very tough couple weeks here. Whatever he lays out for his Iraq policy, obviously, will be opposed by the Democrats. Whatever he puts up for a budget will be opposed by the Democrats, and whatever they decide to pass jointly will not be in his best interest or the country's best interest.
What do you think, Harold?
Well, that sounds about right. I mean, the president got religion on earmarks. He was shocked to discover that over 15,000 were passed last year. His solution, of course, is the line item veto, enabling him to make those choices. And of course, he talked about not using political legislation just to make a statement. And I had to go back and think, now, was this the guy who suggested 6 constitutional amendments, including the ban on same-sex marriage? And in fact, it was. So, you know, he's going to try and dig in. As a first attempt, this one was almost laughable. I think it will get more serious, as Ed suggests, where they start digging in on the details and trying to gum up the works.
It reminded me of that scene in Casablanca where they were shocked about the gambling that was going on at the casino. The point is, this president expressed his shock, of course, at the plight of this country during this press conference. Yet it was his party and his presidency that has given us the situation.
Okay, now that was all good. Leading right up to November 7th, Robert.
Here we go.
Now you've got the Senate and the House. Rahm Emanuel standing out, and Cindy Sheehan and her supporters are shouting down the Democrats right there on Capitol Hill, saying, you're talking about everything but the war in Iraq. We got more than 3,000 people dead, more than 20,000 people wounded. What in the heck? Where is the sense of urgency? What are you doing?
Well, I think the fact that we've even changed the dialogue about the war in Iraq.
Oh, baloney.
Let me finish my point.
No, changing the dialogue.
Absolutely.
You guys have been after these Republicans, and deservedly so, let me say. But now is the time to get serious. We've got people dying. We have confused strategy. We're hearing more nonsense about a discussion of a change of strategy.
Lou, what you're hearing from Democrats is, first of all, the idea of holding different types of, a number of Democrats have put forward different plans to address the war in Iraq, from phased redeployment to partitioning the region. Democrats at least are pledged to hold hearings to begin to develop an exit strategy. Let's not forget what Senator Warner told us, and he pointed out, and it was absolutely on target, because there wasn't the due diligence done by Congress, we walked into this terrible quagmire in Iraq. The Democratic leadership in the Congress owes the American people hearings.
I'm tired of I'll be honest with you. I don't know how you gentlemen
We have
feel.
one commander-in-chief,
I'm
Lou.
sick of the history of this. My God, that is stipulated, demonstrated, and on the record. But we have people dying.
Right.
And I see politics continue to be played here, Errol.
Well, the protest that you saw in the middle of the press conference where Cindy Sheehan and other people started yelling at them, that's the hot seat that Nancy Pelosi is on, and she knows that she's on it. Of the 30-odd seats by which the Democrats took the majority, at least 18 of those seats were in districts that either used to be represented by Republicans or voted for Bush in 2004 or both. The Democrats are caught in the middle. They came in with a certain amount of rhetoric. They're going to be pushed from the left. They're going to be pushed from the right. They've got to figure out a way to make it work.
Well, as you know, I've had a belly full of both Republicans and Democrats when we've got people dying, when we've got serious issues.
Unfortunately, Lou, we're going to continue to have people dying, and we're not going to have any clear strategy. The president's going to basically keep our troops there for a substantial period of time. And I think his comments last week, we now have to come up with a strategy to win. How do you define winning in a country that's in absolute total disarray?
How can you dare say we're going to come up with a strategy to win?
I'm just telling you, that's
4 years into a war.
That's what he said. Is winning destroying all the Sunnis and the Shiites who become the leaders of the country? We cannot put this thing back together again. And I think
should we get out?
I think I have reluctantly come to that position that we have to get out. We have to stay somewhere in the region to make sure the rest of it doesn't explode. But I think at this point in time, there is no clear-cut way we can win this battle.
Ed, it's a very courageous position you're taking, and it's called phased redeployment, and I admire so many people who've come to that conclusion, including Senator Smith, who reached that conclusion, Senator Hagel as well. But the reality is this. We still have in our country a Constitution. We still have one commander-in-chief. Leader Harry Reid in the Senate, Speaker Nancy Pelosi. They can put ideas on the table as they have,
you have just exculpated the Republican Congress you were criticizing just moments ago.
No, because they didn't even hold the hearings.
For their failure. Oh, come on.
And they didn't
Either
even
they've got a responsibility here or they don't. Whether Republicans or Democrats, the Constitution says they have a responsibility.
Absolutely. The Republicans didn't step up and hold their hearings. The Democrats are proposing alternatives. In fact, one of the great travesties of the first 6 years of the Bush White House.
But I don't, look, the travesty we're living with.
That's right.
I want to know what the future holds and what the hope is for extrication.
The only hope for the future is when this president realizes that we're not going to solve the crisis in Iraq with stubbornness or with a troop escalation, but with
realistically.
Well, I can see partisanship has left this discussion altogether.
No, we need to have diplomatic escalation, and you're seeing Republicans join Democrats in the Congress around increasing a focus on diplomacy.
Robert is assuming, I think, over-optimistically, that the president is going to shift dramatically over the last 24 months of his administration.
The Republicans and Democrats in Congress are shifting dramatically, and they're demanding an escalation of diplomacy, not an escalation of troops.
I think there's going to be an escalation of troops, and I think the reality is we're going to pay a heavier price. And I think what bothers me is there is no clear-cut strategy to get out of there or to win. Wow. And I think at the end of the day, we're going to create more chaos and lose more American lives.
Very quickly, 2008, it's upon us. Partisanship is alive and well, and within the Democratic contenders, Senator Hillary Clinton saying Barack Obama is going to diminish. Is she right?
Quite to the contrary. You have a very open battle for that nomination. The concept of a front runner is obsolete, and it's going to be a very fierce competitive battle for that nomination.
There would be phased strategic assertion of advantage in a political year, I believe. Ed Rollins, Mayor Giuliani, he stepped into it. 140 pages of his presidential campaign playbook.
It doesn't do much for his security business, I wouldn't think, to lose your playbook. But I think all I can tell you, I've been around this business for 40 years, and I think everything that I've learned in those 40 years is not going to be very relevant in this campaign. McCain and Giuliani obviously have the name ID and have a lot of resources. I'm not sure there's great enthusiasm across the country for them. They've got to go out and prove themselves. They're not going to win this by polls. And the country is still, at least Republicans are still looking for a conservative alternative. It's not Mitt Romney at this point in time. And so I think there's a long way for this to play out.
Hillary Clinton, Errol, says that her chief competitors at this stage are John Edwards and Barack Obama. Do you concur?
That sounds about right, if you believe the polls. But what she doesn't say, which is also indicated by the polls, is that she's stuck at 30%. If she can't take advantage of the fact that the Democrats haven't decided who they want for president, that's not going to necessarily help her. You can be in front at 30%, and you can stay at 30% all the way through the primaries, and you don't win that way.
And I'm going to give the last word to you, but it's got to be yes or no. The fact is, we can leave it with this. Does this newly elected Democratic Congress now have a substantial responsibility to influence the direction of the war in Iraq?
Absolutely.
We can leave it there. Robert Zimmerman, Errol Lewis, Ed Rollins, as always. Thank you, gentlemen. And we'll be talking again shortly. Safe Friday. Still ahead, the results of our poll. More of your thoughts. Stay with us.
This is the AARP Medicare Supplement Insurance Plan card. You know what's great about this card? Wherever you go, nationwide, Your coverage travels with you. And that's just one of the many reasons you need the card you can trust. Because with AARP Medicare's supplement insurance plans, you can apply year-round, talk with personal health insurance advisors, and so much more. If you're turning 65 or older, or you've already enrolled in a Medicare supplement plan, call for this free information kit and Medicare guide. These are the only Medicare supplement insurance plans exclusively endorsed by AARP. These plans, insured by United Healthcare Insurance Company, help cover some of your medical expenses not covered by Medicare alone. This could save you thousands of dollars. Want your choice of doctors or hospitals, virtually no claim forms, and no referrals needed to see a specialist? Call for your free kit. Yep, this is one great card.
Here's what people are saying about OsteoBiflex, the #1 doctor-recommended joint care brand.
I'm 77 years old, and I work as a waitress, and if it weren't for OsteoBiflex, I just couldn't do it.
My doctor recommended I take OsteoBiflex, and it's great. It really works for me.
I'm amazed at the results I've seen from my patients taking OsteoBiflex. It works by helping to lubricate the joint, and it helps to maintain the cartilage.
OsteoBiflex has given me mobility. I wasn't getting that crunching, grinding sound in my joints.
Not only did it stop the discomfort and the stiffness, but it gave me full mobility again.
The glucosamine and chondroitin, as found in OsteoBiflex, actually lubricates and cushions your joints to provide free movement, mobility, and comfort.
OsteoBiflex has given me a whole new life.
For a $3 off coupon and more information on OsteoBiflex, go to osteobiflex.com right now. OsteoBiflex is available wherever quality vitamins and supplements are sold.
Closed captioning provided by Activon. Apply directly where it hurts.
New from the makers of Head-On, introducing Activon. Joint and muscle pain, Activon. Apply directly where it hurts. Activon Joint and Muscle, in stores now.
The results of tonight's poll, overwhelming. 98% of you saying you don't believe our already broken Social Security system can handle paying benefits to illegal aliens who have worked in this country 18 months. Time now for more of your thoughts. Sean in Nevada saying, don't you just love this, Lou? President Bush is now stating it's time Congress give the president a line item veto. And Ron in Virginia, Lou, when it comes to the truth, you're our city of refuge from the ignorance. You're our cool drink of knowledge in the dry desert of stupidity, and a star of the